Hey there, my name is Shane Craddock, and this is the Inner Edge podcast, where I share a different take on how to lead and live a sustainable, high-performance life. Over the course of different episodes, I'm going to challenge the belief that tension, stress, and struggle are essential to success and creativity. My experience is that there's an easier way, there's a better way, and indeed there's an essential way that we need to explore for the times that we live in. So let's go ahead, let's jump in and explore. Hello there, and welcome to The Inner Edge with myself, Shane Craddock. As I'm recording this, it's the day after the night before, and I had planned to record, as I normally do, a certain topic. And because of what happened last night, I'm going to change that topic. I had been invited by a client of mine to go to what's called the Image Businesswoman of the Year Awards. It's in Ireland. It is the most probably prestigious business event for women in my home country. I'd never been at it before. I've had clients over the years who have been nominated. And in this particular case, as it happened, the overall main award, the overall Businesswoman of the Year, was won by the person who invited me to the event, my client, Emma May. And, you can go to a lot of these events and very rarely, not everybody's going to win. And it's a a beautiful occurrence in my world with somebody that I respect hugely. And because of that experience and somebody that I've been working with over many years, something occurred to me this morning about Emma. And I just thought, she listens to this podcast. I know she'll probably be cringing now at the thought that I'm talking specifically about her, but it's something that I think will inspire other people, because one of the things that I took out of the event myself as a man, going to what is an awards event celebrating great work by fantastic women, was I came away very, very inspired myself in many different ways. And I think the trait that I would have observed, even listening to the women speaking as they receive their awards, and something that I've seen myself with my clients over the years, to be honest with you, both men and women, is the ability to play through pain. And I think that is one of the key aspects. Maybe it's not discussed too much in general, but the ability to play with pain is that you're always going to have a version of pain in pretty much anything that you want to be successful in. And in my experience, a lot of people, and I've done it myself in the past, where you hit a pain point and then maybe you stop, and not realizing that actually that pain point was a test to push through it. And if you think about it, and obviously we're talking about on this podcast, the inner edge, most pain when it comes to business or sport or even your personal life, most pain is actually psychological. Most pain. Which means it can obviously be emotional as well, because the two of them are very much interlinked. And I think that's worth reflecting on, because if it is just psychological, it means you can push through it. Now, there's a quote that I absolutely love by the tennis great Roger Federer. And I'm just going to read it out to you here. It says, "What I think I've been able to do well over the years is play with pain, play with problems, play in all sorts of conditions." So play with pain, play with problems, play in all sorts of conditions. And I've heard versions of that statement made by people that I really respect, people who've been successful in their fields, as I say, in all contexts, whether it's business or sport or academics or anything, even relationships. It's playing with pain. So not having pain is not realistic. You're going to encounter pain, especially as you grow or develop, and especially in business. And it is something, for example, that I would have seen so many times with Emma, that she had this ability to play through pain. I remember, I'm not going to dwell too much because she'd hate me doing it, but I just remember one specific time where there was very intense negotiations happening over something very critical, and she had only just had a baby, I think 3 days, 4 days before, maybe even less, and she had to get herself together because nobody else could do what she had to do, and she had to play through pain, get into that negotiation room, be prepped, and deliver on a result, and she did. And I know many other women and men who, because of the job that I have, I get to hear behind the scenes about the reality of what it takes to succeed. And they'll all have that in common. They will just push through the pain barrier. And I think it's a universal thing. I don't think if you're listening to this, you might be thinking, yeah, well, okay, I can do that. That's good. And maybe we're just validating something in you already. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, I wish it was more like that. But here's the thing. From my experience, I think really it's about feeling the pain and just getting on with it. Or to kind of steal a kind of bit of insight from the famous book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Be afraid and just do it anyway. Feel the pain and just do it anyway. Our role isn't, or our focus isn't to remove the pain. I just don't think that that's realistic. We can certainly minimize the pain by understanding, I think, how our minds work, by understanding how to get away from interfering thoughts or thoughts that are causing doubt in particular, or regret or worry or anxiety or tension, all human emotions. But it is possible to minimize those things and therefore be able to play better through pain. And that really comes down to understanding how to use your mind in a different way. I often think as well about, I have an interest in the theatre. I've written a couple of plays, as some of you may know, for the stage, and I've been involved in amateur dramatics as an actor. But what I always am fascinated with is how long it takes to create a production. I mean, the writing of it can take time, and then you've got to hire the people or get the people together, stage it. It's a huge amount of work, and it might only be for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And people just don't necessarily see the work that goes into creating it. And a lot of it is pain, is overcoming those barriers, overcoming problems, working through your own doubts, working through your own challenges, even on the personal side, things that will distract you from your work. And then as well, if you're, say, using the theatre as an analogy, the audience goes in and experiences, for example, a play or a musical, and they will be entertained, especially if it's done well. But generally, if you're behind the scenes, there's no two shows are the same. Things will change. Somebody will forget a line. Somebody will drop something or forget something. There sometimes could be chaos backstage. But regardless of what's going on backstage, the audience just experience something that is probably going to be seen as, oh, that's really good. And I think it's like that being somebody in life who's ambitious, whether you're a leader or leader in any context, even a parent. People can look from the outside and say, oh, look, isn't that great? You have it all sorted, but they just don't necessarily see the amount of graft, the work, sometimes the chaos, sometimes the pain, sometimes the sleepless nights. And I suppose what I'm trying to get across today is, look, pain is inevitable, but don't let pain stop you taking on something and persisting through that. And it is always very special when you're acknowledged through an award like what Emma received last night. It's always nice, but not everybody gets that. But what is nice, perhaps, is to be inspired when you see somebody else maybe achieving that, and to realize that, you know what, I just need to raise my hopes, raise my spirits, raise my sights. Pain is inevitable. If you're feeling pain right now, in any context listening to this, that's normal. That will happen. It will happen in different phases. But the reality is, or the watch out, I guess, is not to get so consumed by pain that it drags you down and it diminishes your optimism or your hope, because hopefulness is the bit that really brings everybody up. And that is what I saw at the event in Dublin last night. 900 people in a room. Of that, about 50 were men. It was 850 women or thereabouts. And what I saw was women inspiring women. And what they mightn't have realized was they were also inspiring men, because that's what I got out of it. And it also reminded me that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, and my job is to manage myself to the pain. And like Roger Federer, just play with pain, play with the problems, play in all sorts of conditions, but keep my eye on the prize. Keep my eye on why I'm here and actually what I'm trying to create. And it is amazing to me that with time and attention and persistence, that you can create the impossible. And I think certainly I think Emma would agree with me that when I met her, whatever amount, X years ago, that to say that she'd be standing on a stage receiving the overall Business Person of the Year award would have seemed impossible. But I've seen it happen too many times with other people. And if nothing else from today, maybe you could just reconnect with that sense of going for the possibility in your world, in your life, in your business, in your team, in your family, whatever. So that is it for today. Ciao for now.